Coming back from the hospital checkup, found out I had late-stage lung cancer. The first thing I did afterward was to bring the senior I've had a crush on for 8 years back to my home. A month passed. I found that besides being a bit weak, I didn't feel any pain. Right at this moment, the hospital called and said that the medical report was mixed up. My health was completely fine. At that moment, I completely panicked, looking at the woman sleeping on the bed. I made a decision in my heart. A major decision. After 3 years abroad, returning to the country, after a company team-building event, I was drunk by my colleagues. When I woke up, my feet were locked by something. It felt strangely familiar. Except this time, beside me lay one big and one small person. I didn't even have time to confess to senior, and I'd be dead in a month. Thinking of this, on the way back my tears wouldn't stop flowing. The taxi driver uncle knew I was coming from the hospital. Noticing my emotional state was off, he probably guessed something. Before I got out, he suddenly said to me, "Young man, there is no hurdle that cannot be overcome. Living in the moment is what's most important." Returning home, looking at the empty villa, with only me left, I suddenly made a decision in my heart, a major decision. The driver uncle was right. Live in the moment, opened the phone, ordered a silver chain. Only 1 month left. I didn't want to leave any regrets. The delivery arrived quickly. By the time I finished eating, the item had already arrived. Looking at this silver chain, I plucked up the courage to open WeChat. The pinned chat box. "Senior, I'm feeling a bit unwell today. Could you come over and take care of me for a bit?" As soon as the message was sent, the other party replied immediately. That person arrived at my place within half an hour. During this time, I took the sleeping pills I used for insomnia and dissolved them in water, sitting on the sofa waiting. The door was knocked. Calming down the excited emotions within, opened the door. What came into view was a woman in professional attire. At this moment, on the woman's forehead, fine beads of sweat were seeping. Clearly, she had just finished work and rushed over to me. Seeing this in my heart, a wave of guilt suddenly surged. But I soon became determined again. As soon as the woman entered with a face full of worry, she pulled me to the side of the sofa. "Junior, where do you feel unwell? I'll take you to the hospital right now." Looking at the woman and her concerned look, my eyes couldn't help but fill with tears. The woman in front of me is named Ji Anxue, 6 years older than me. When I was 14 and was kicked out of the house by my parents, it was Senior who kindly took me in and even put me through college. After graduation, I even joined Senior's company as an assistant. All these years, Senior's care for me was meticulous. To me, she is everything. And this villa I'm living in also belongs to Senior. Except that after I turned 18, Senior gave this villa to me as a birthday gift, saying that if in the future I got a girlfriend, she wouldn't come to disturb us. It all began that winter. when Senior carried me back to the villa from the snow. From then on, it was impossible for me to like any other woman. Now I had late-stage lung cancer. Maybe facing death gave me a little more courage. Junior, say something. Where exactly do you feel unwell? Don't scare me like this. Ji Anxue saw that I stayed silent, only staring at her quietly. And her voice was full of anxiety. Senior, drink some water first. I'll explain it slowly. I took a deep breath and forced down the guilt in my heart, then squeezed out a smile, looking at the face across from me. More delicate than any celebrity's, I became even more certain of the thought in my heart. Anyway, I was going to die in 1 month, so I might as well gamble once. Say it. Ji Anxue had rushed over from the company and was indeed a little thirsty. She took the cup and drank the water mixed with sleeping pills in one gulp. Seeing the empty cup, I breathed a sigh of relief. Then my expression suddenly became serious. Senior, I like you. I've liked you since the day you took me in. Can we be together? I thought I should give Senior a chance. I didn't want to force her, and I didn't want her to hate me, but reality slapped me hard across the face. Ji Anxue looked at my sudden confession and froze for a moment. When Ji Anxue came back to her senses, her face was full of anger. You're not sick at all. You lied to me. After saying that, Ji Anxue grabbed her bag and walked toward the door without looking back. Seeing this, my eyes darkened, and bitterness filled my heart. So I was rejected after all. But just as Ji Anxue reached the doorway, her vision suddenly went black, and her body fell backward. Luckily, I had prepared for it and hurried forward to catch her. Looking at the sleeping woman in my arms, I couldn't suppress the excitement in my heart. I took out the chain I had just bought and fastened it around Senior's ankle. After finishing this, I opened Senior's phone and found her chat with her secretary. Secretary Jiang, I have to go on a business trip for a month. Don't contact me during this time. For now, the company will be left under Junior's management. For some important documents, send me the electronic versions first. I'll have Junior sign them for me. The other side quickly replied. Okay. Seeing the reply, I smiled. Fortunately, after graduating, I had been working as an assistant at Senior's company. Many people in the company knew about my relationship with Senior. If I signed documents for Senior, Secretary Jiang definitely wouldn't get suspicious. After tidying up briefly, the most important thing was to take my painkillers. I was always afraid of pain. Looking at the sleeping woman beside me, my heart couldn't stop pounding. I had liked Senior for 8 years, and in my heart, I had always treated her as my senior. Today I could finally sleep in the same bed as her. By now the time had already reached 11 o'clock. I reached out and held the woman beside me as I slowly fell asleep. The next morning, Ji Anxue slowly woke up. The moment she opened her eyes and tried to rub her forehead, she found that both her hands were held inside a pair of strong arms. She raised her head and saw a face right in front of her. Seeing the man before her, Ji Anxue's face turned pale. and anger instantly covered her face. She kicked me straight off the bed while I was still sleeping. Gu Fan, let go of me. Don't ever appear in front of me again. Ji Anxue wanted to get up and put on her clothes, but the cold sensation around her ankles startled her. When she saw the silver-white chain, she trembled with anger. Even worse, the floor was covered with her clothes, but she didn't feel any discomfort in her body, so she finally felt a relief looking at the person rubbing his head, who had just woken up. Ji Anxue was so angry her teeth itched. Just as she opened her mouth to curse, I grabbed both her hands and pinned them beneath me. I had still been immersed in a sweet dream with Senior when I was suddenly kicked awake. As soon as I came back to my senses, Senior's furious scolding rang in my ears. Although I knew last night that Senior would curse me when she woke up, my heart still felt terrible. And my gaze dimmed. Things had already gone this far. I couldn't back down now. After all, I only had 1 month left. 18 years later, I would be a good man again. Suddenly, I raised my head and met Senior's eyes, but very quickly, my gaze shifted downward. Gu Fan. The curtains in the room were tightly closed, making the room especially dim. I had secretly loved Senior for 8 years, and in this final month, I didn't want to keep being a coward. When I woke up again, I found Senior staring at me, expressionlessly. For a moment, my eyes dodged a little, so I quickly changed the subject. Senior, you must be hungry. I'll go make you something to eat. Ji Anxue, when she wasn't angry, was the scariest version of all. I hurriedly sat up, threw on my clothes, and escaped from the bedroom. Inside the room, Ji Anxue watched my leaving back. With complicated eyes, her gaze fell on the clothes, scattered on the floor, and the tips of her ears flushed slightly. In the end, it turned into a helpless sigh. Ji Anxue found one of my white shirts in the wardrobe, then went into the bathroom to wash up. Before long, I carried a bowl of porridge into the bedroom. By then, Ji Anxue had already finished showering, and she was wearing my shirt. But seeing Senior like this made me freeze slightly. Her soft black hair was still damp with water, wetting the collar and clinging tightly to her skin. If you still want to continue, I'll die in this bed. As if noticing that my breathing had grown heavy, Ji Anxue gave a cold snort. I smiled awkwardly and quickly held the porridge, bringing the spoon to her lips. The woman only glared at me, then opened her mouth and drank it. Seeing that, Senior didn't resist. Joy rose in my heart, and I continued feeding her. After finishing the porridge, Ji Anxue didn't mention what happened last night. Gu Fan, unlock this for me. There are still many company documents waiting for me to handle. Do you intend to keep me locked up like this if I don't go to work for a day? Someone will call the police. This is illegal. At Ji Anxue's threat, I just smiled. No. You don't need to worry about the company. I've already helped you with Secretary Jiang to request leave. Those documents I will handle them for you, taking out Ji Anxue's phone. Opening the chat history with Secretary Jiang to show her. Then I put the phone away, not letting her touch any communication devices. Ji Anxue looked at the man in front of her who had arranged everything. Suddenly, she glared at him in anger. She is very angry right now. If she had known, she wouldn't have given this guy so much authority at the company. Now it's great. She's been played by the guy. In front of her. Early the next morning, I placed the prepared meal by the bedside. Looking at Senior's pale little face, a hint of regret surged in my heart. It's all my fault. Now Senior probably hates me to death. Recalling last night, Senior didn't seem to reject me at all. A smile immediately appeared on my face. It seems Senior isn't that repulsed by me after all. Tidying up the messy room. Once, Ji Anxue in the bedroom just sat on the bed watching me rush off to the company, her eyes full of complexity. Arriving at the company, I took a day off yesterday. Today, I should officially be back to work. During this month, I tried my best not to leave Senior any trouble at work. The whole day, I buried myself in Senior's CEO office reviewing documents. The whole day, I buried myself in Senior's CEO office reviewing documents. During this time, there were a few important documents that I took home. At night, in the bedroom, Ji Anxue looked at the documents in her hand and laughed in anger. Last night this kid was like a bull. Her whole body is still sore, just as she finally recovered a bit. At night this guy made her work. The smile of the woman in front of me made me feel a bit nervous. I glared at her and threatened her. What are you laughing at? Sign it quickly. Don't think about taking the phone. Otherwise, I'll make sure tomorrow you still can't get out of bed. The woman was clearly scared by these words. Her delicate body trembling slightly, she picked up the pen and began reviewing documents. While she did that, I quickly went downstairs to prepare the meal. This kind of life lasted for more than half a month. During this time, during the day, I handled company affairs at the company for Senior, and at night I brought some important documents for Ji Anxue to review. However, after more than half a month together, I found that Senior didn't have any intention of escaping. Every time I returned home, I could see the woman sitting on the balcony with a book, just staying there quietly, but the clothes on her body were always just that one oversized shirt. So that for more than half a month, every night I would wait for her to finish reviewing documents, then impatiently kiss her. And the woman cooperated and responded to me. This kind of life made me very attached. But I know that in another week or so, I will be dead. Whenever I think of this, loneliness showed in my eyes. But soon this loneliness turned into motivation for me to tightly hold the person in my arms. But what I'm glad about is that for over half a month, I've been taking painkillers and have never felt any pain, at least this way before dying. I won't suffer, but the only thing that makes me dissatisfied is that my body is getting weaker by the day. I've clearly lost a lot of weight. One night, as the two of us lay in bed, Ji Anxue's face showed both helplessness and anger. How long do you plan to keep me locked up? I'll let you go in a week. Can't you just rest for a few days? I'm afraid your body can't take it. Who says I can't? A man can't say he can't. And my physical weakness is caused by lung cancer. This woman actually said I can't. Time flew by, with 3 days left, until the 1-month deadline. Hello? Is this Mr. Gu? Looking at the call from the hospital, I instantly thought they wanted to persuade me to get treatment. But there are only 3 days left. Even if I get treatment, it'll be useless. You don't need to persuade me anymore. I've given up on treatment. Just as I was preparing to hang up. Mr. Gu, you've misunderstood. Our hospital owes you an apology. Your test report was mixed up by us. Your body is very healthy. The patient with the same name as you passed away at 6 a.m. this morning. We are truly sorry. I didn't even hear the words that followed. My eyes were wide open at this moment. Only that phrase echoed in my ears. Your body is very healthy. I'm not sick. I don't have to die. Wait, no. I'm not sick. But why is my whole body sore? And my constitution has worsened. Ignoring the work at hand, I rushed to the hospital. At this moment, I viewed health as exceptionally important. Mr. Gu, according to your description, your physical weakness and decline in constitution are because of excessive indulgence, combined with long-term use of large amounts of painkillers. Go back and take more vitamins. You'll be fine after a month of rest. I apologize to you here, because our hospital's mistake caused you mental stress. Truly sorry. I'm not sick. Standing at the hospital entrance again. Unlike last time, my heart was full of joy. But soon this joy was replaced by fear. I'm not sick. Doesn't that mean in 3 days, after I release my senior, I'll have to go to prison? No. I'm still so young. My great youth. How can I waste it in prison? Maybe I should go back and apologize to my senior. No. She would never accept it. Maybe tell her the truth. No, that won't work either. She'll definitely think I'm afraid of prison and making up an excuse. I kept pondering in my head how I could get my seniors forgiveness in 3 days, until the driver's horn pulled me back to reality. But what was very coincidental was that the driver in front of me was the same one I met last time. The driver saw me and clearly recognized me. Young man, so it's you. Looking at your complexion, you seem to be doing well. I'm all right, uncle. By the way, uncle, let me ask you a question. If someone offended someone they shouldn't have, and the other person won't forgive them, and they are afraid of going to jail, what should they do? Looking at the uncle in front of me, a spark of hope suddenly ignited in my heart. A month ago it was this uncle who taught me a lesson, which helped me get the senior. Now I really hope the uncle can give me some advice again. Huh? That's simple. Just go abroad. After 3 years, these grudges and grievances, no matter how deep the hatred, will fade over 3 years. And once abroad, our domestic laws won't be able to reach. Young man, the person you're talking about isn't yourself, is it? Huh? How is that possible? Uncle, I just came across a video where someone asked this question I didn't know how to answer. Thanks for the guidance, Uncle. The driver's suggestion was an eye-opener for me. Hearing the second half of his sentence, I quickly gave an awkward smile and made up an excuse to brush it off. Goodbye, young man. Let me leave you with a word. You must face everything with courage. Don't do things you'll regret. Thank you. Downstairs at the company, watching the taxi drive away. With an excited heart, I walked quickly into the office. I ran into Assistant Jiang on the way, but I ignored her, because at that moment I remembered. 2 days ago, the company had a 3-year overseas project that needed someone to be in charge. The person hasn't been decided yet. This project is simply tailor-made for me right now. But what I didn't know was, while I was leaving in a hurry, Assistant Jiang behind me was staring intently at the bag in my hand, brought from the hospital. President Ji, has Assistant Gu's health not been very good lately? When will you be back? Seeing that President Ji hadn't replied to a single message for a month, this made Assistant Jiang even more puzzled about what project President Ji was negotiating. To be this busy for the next 2 days, I took over the overseas project and handled it, completed the exit procedures, that I would be in charge of this project. Everyone in the company couldn't help but be shocked. Even Secretary Jiang was the same, but I wouldn't explain further. Tomorrow, after tonight, tomorrow at 8 a.m., I will leave Jiangcheng. Then I won't have to go to jail. Gu Fan, when on earth are you letting me out? These words were the first thing said whenever we met every day. This is what I heard. Looking at the woman's eyes, staring intently at me. Suddenly, I felt a bit of longing for these moments, and I even didn't want to let go. What are you? The overwhelming kisses made Ji Anxue breathless, seeming to feel his emotions. Ji Anxue cooperated and didn't speak. 6 in the morning, I quickly got up and washed up, packed some daily necessities, made breakfast and put it in the thermal cooker, turned on her phone, and placed it by the pillow. Then I unlocked the chain around her ankle. After keeping it on for a month, her ankles had long been marked with red imprints. Caressing the woman's ankles for a long time, gently placing a kiss on her forehead, leaving a note, I took a taxi to the airport. After boarding at 8, I could no longer hold on and fell fast asleep. The flight takes 11 hours. Enough for me to make up for last night's exhaustion. 3 p.m. In the villa's bedroom, Ji Anxue was woken up by the sudden ringing of her phone. President Jai, Assistant Gu said you would return to the company today. When will you be coming? Tum. Still a bit groggy, Jian. Zhu replied hoarsely. Wait. Just after speaking, Ji Anxue regretted it. Her face instantly flushed red, and she quickly hung up. Although she didn't know why that little brat wanted to return the phone to her. But she couldn't afford to think about it that much. Getting out of bed. Her legs suddenly went weak and she collapsed. Suddenly she saw the note on the table. Senior, I'm leaving. I don't want to go to jail. I still have my youth ahead of me. Can you please not sue me? Looking at the note in her hand, Ji Anxue felt completely devastated. Just then, messages accumulated over the month flooded in. In the bathroom, Ji Anxue soaked in the tub, scrolling through the month's messages, especially after seeing the message sent by Secretary Jiang. Her pupils suddenly contracted. The news that I left at 8 a.m. to go abroad for 3 years. She smiled. As she smiled, her expression instantly turned cold. She smashed the phone against the wall into pieces. A crystal clear tear fell into the bathtub, creating a ripple. Gu Fan, you're really something. Take it when you want it. Throw it away when you don't. You'd better stay abroad forever and never return. All this happening in the bathroom, while I was still on the plane, fast asleep, never once thinking about returning home after 3 years, how I should face Ji Anxue's ray 3 years later. 4 p.m. Jiangcheng Airport. Brother Fan, this. Not far away by a Ferrari, a man waved at me. Seeing him, I also showed a knowing smile. The one who came was my good brother Subai. Brother Fan, you left without a word and ran abroad. There's a cocktail party tonight. Let's have a proper drink. In the car, watching the driver continuously, talking about what happened these 3 years. I just listened quietly, but the one I missed most was still senior. 3 years have passed, she probably doesn't hate me anymore, right? If she still hates me, I'll just have to resign. Speaking of which, I really can't bear to. Brother Fan, did you hear me? Okay, because time was tight. My luggage was put directly at Subai's house. Brother Fan, you have no idea, after you left 3 years ago, how powerful your senior became. All the forces that competed with your senior were driven to bankruptcy by her. Now your senior sister could be said to be the sky of all Jiangcheng. No one dares to provoke her. I remember seeing her once last month. That gaze almost made my legs go soft. On the sofa, I listened to Subai talking and was slightly stunned. My senior sister has become so powerful that she's achieved so much today. I'm genuinely happy for her. 8 p.m. I grabbed Subai's suit, put it on and followed Subai to the party. As for why we didn't just go to a bar to drink, my buddy only said this party would have a VIP attending, wanted me to help him get an introduction. I just found this speechless. I haven't been in Jiangcheng for 3 years. What VIP could I possibly know? Because the VIP wouldn't arrive until 9. Subai and I hid in the corner and kept drinking. Just as I finished using the restroom and was washing my hands, a figure appeared behind me. The man wore a reddish-brown suit, looking somewhat like me. At this moment he was looking at me with a smile. I saw who it was. My gaze instantly turned cold. This person is my half-brother, from the same father, Gu Han. Back then I was kicked out of the house, all because of his schemes. But today is my first day back in the country. I just wanted to celebrate with my buddy and didn't want to cause trouble. Just as I took a few steps out, Gu Fan, you coming to attend this party today? Couldn't be specifically to see me. Confess to Anzu, right? What do you mean? Hearing Guhan call her so intimately, my eyes widened. My gaze locked onto him. Heh. You probably don't know. After you went abroad, Anzu often took me to various occasions. Even the important projects of Anzu's company were handed to our Gu family. Tonight I will be together with Anzu. I should thank you for going abroad. These 3 years gave me the chance to get close to Anzu. The man's words stung me sharply. At this moment I clenched my fists. Only one sentence echoed in my ears. Tonight Guhan will be with my senior sister. My heart hurts so much. Does she really still hate me? Knowing how much I hate Guhan, she still wants to be with him. Ignoring the man beside me and his sarcasm, with dull eyes I returned to the table and started chugging. Now I also understand that the VIP Subai mentioned was my senior sister. But at this moment I just couldn't feel happy. The first time I saw her after returning was actually seeing Guhan, confessing to her, thinking that soon my senior sister would be with Guhan. My heart filled with rage. Beside me, Subai noticed that my mood was off. Seeing me keep chugging alcohol, he wanted to say a few words to persuade me. But meeting my lost gaze, he slowly shut his mouth and drank with me. An hour later, Subai and I were already completely unconscious from drinking. And just then, the once noisy party suddenly fell silent. A woman in a red dress appeared in the center of the venue. Her gaze swept across the room. Her eyes suddenly fell on the corner, on me, drunk and slumped on the table. Her gaze darkened slightly. Just as she was about to walk over, a figure suddenly blocked her way under everyone's gaze. Anzu, I like you. Can you be with me? At this moment the party lights shone upon the two of them. Everyone not in the least felt surprised. Some people even started cheering and shouting, say yes. I was also amidst these shouts awakened. Looking at the two under the lights, my heart felt like it was being stabbed. I really wanted to rush up and stop them. But what right do I have? Looking at the wine on the table, I picked it up and continued drinking. But this time the wine tasted only of bitterness. Under the lights, Gu-han saw me and suddenly looked up. Sneering in his heart, he once again affectionately gazed at Ji Anxue and Zhu. Are you willing to be with me? Slap asterisk. The crisp sound of a slap rang through the entire party. Everyone was bewildered and fell silent. Gu-han on the stage, his face full of disbelief, looking at the woman in front of him, not understanding what he had done wrong. Didn't she like him? Why did she hit him? Secretary Jiang, terminate all cooperation with the Gu group. As for those who were cheering just now, stop all cooperation with their companies too. After the woman said this, without giving the surrounding company chairman a chance to plead, she expressionlessly walked towards me. But I didn't notice any of this. In my mind, it kept echoing that Senior had accepted Gu-han and was now with him. The wine glass in my hand, just as it reached my lips, was suddenly snatched away by a fair hand. At this moment, seeing the glass being snatched, I was suddenly annoyed. I looked up and met the woman's gloomy expression. The anger in my heart vanished instantly. My eyes darted around, not daring to meet her gaze. Just got back, and didn't come to see me, yet you drink this much. Gu-fan, you're really something. Why do you care about me? We have no relationship. You already agreed to be with Gu-han. Why care about me? By now I was already drunk and confused. My consciousness was still stuck on her accepting Gu-han's confession, completely failing to notice Ji Anxue's rejection. Seeing her come to manage me, I felt a surge of grievance. I snatched the glass from her hand and continued to drink. Seeing me acting jealous, Ji Anxue's original anger vanished for the most part. Secretary Jiang arranged for someone to take the Su family's young master back home. A feeling of weightlessness hit me. I was directly picked up by Jian. Zhu in a bridal carry, the wine in my hand spilled all over her chest, soaking her clothes. But the woman seemed not to notice, walking towards the exit. Only then did everyone realize who President Ji actually liked. Many people looked at Gu-han with mocking glares. Those who cheered were even more regretful. But in this situation, no one dared to step forward to stop her. Inside the hotel's presidential suite, the woman carried the sleeping me straight into the bathroom to wash up. Looking at the person she hadn't seen in 3 years, Ji Anxue was both angry and helpless. On the bed, Ji Anxue dried her hair. At this moment, I also woke up groggily. Looking at the woman beside me, I pushed her away in anger. This woman already has Gu-han. Why is she still coming to see me? Get away. Why are you looking for me? If not you, who would I look for? Drinking so much. Didn't I tell you that you're not allowed to drink? Ji Anxue's gaze was gloomy, almost as if she wanted to devour me. This kid actually dared to push her away. Just great. Slept with her and then wants to avoid responsibility. I'm not your boyfriend. Go find your boyfriend. Hearing my words, Ji Anxue smiled, liking her, yet doesn't confess to her. slept with her for a month, then turned around and fled abroad. She hasn't even settled the score with him. And now he's blaming her. Get out of my way. I wanted to push the woman away. Suddenly her expression darkened. She pinned me beneath her, blocking my mouth. Meanwhile, in another hotel, inside the presidential suite, my brother Subai was being constantly teased by a woman. In just a moment, Subai succumbed to the tender embrace. Early the next morning, I was woken up by the alarm, feeling the soreness all over my body. I knew that last night I was slept with. It seems last night wasn't a dream. Seeing on the table a set of clothes. On the clothes was clearly the handwriting of my senior. Seeing this, I suddenly felt relieved, secretly glad. Luckily, it wasn't someone else. But soon I quickly got dressed. I have to report to the company today. But after last night's events, I know that senior no longer hates me. With a happy mood, I took a taxi in the VX blacklist. The person who had been blocked for 3 years was removed. But soon, I was shocked by a message from my brother. Brother Fan, you must help me out. Last night I was slept with by your seniors, Secretary Jiang. She even recorded a video saying that if I don't take responsibility, she'll send me to prison. Brother Fan, you must save me. Seeing Subai's message, my lip twitched. But mostly I was shocked that Secretary Jiang actually likes Subai. But for this kind of thing, I can't help. Ziobai, why don't you just go along with Secretary Jiang? Secretary Jiang obviously just likes you. If you don't take responsibility, you might have to go to prison. Even your family company could be affected. Besides, Secretary Jiang is quite beautiful. You're not losing out by being with her. After a while, until I arrived at the company building, Subai's message finally came through. I got it, Brother Fan. After seeing the message, I felt happy. Not bad. Did a good deed. Today will definitely have something good happen. With a joyful heart, I walked toward the CEO's office. All the colleagues along the way, seeing me return, greeted me one after another. I responded to each of them. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw Secretary Jiang walking toward me. After she saw me, a hint of sympathy appeared in her eyes. I was a bit puzzled, but thinking about Subai, that Secretary Jiang, you're not really going to send Subai to prison, are you? Secretary Jiang heard my sudden words and was momentarily stunned, blushed after reacting, and quickly entered the elevator. Come in. Senior, this is the company that oversees project. Report it to me. Just as I opened my mouth, I met those cold eyes and was instantly scared stiff. Hurry up. Oh, okay. The woman's expression was cold. making me feel very anxious. I hurriedly explained the overseas project. Once, after leaving the office, I was still shaken. She was so gentle last night. Why the change of face today? At least she didn't mention the things from 3 years ago. For the next few days, I stayed at Subai's house because I learned from Secretary Jiang that my villa had already been taken over by Senior. Thinking of her cold demeanor in the office that day, I didn't dare go back at all, fearing I'd be punished if I did. However, what must come cannot be avoided. One day, company team building. In the bar, I was constantly toasted by a group of company executives. During this, the way they looked at me was full of sympathy, which left me puzzled until I was forced to drink, until I lost consciousness. The door opened. After seeing who it was, the company executives quickly stepped out. Ji Anxue looked at me, sleeping soundly on the sofa, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. That night I had a dream. In the dream, Senior and I were married and had a daughter. The three of us lived happily together. Early morning. Feeling the weight on my chest, I slowly opened my eyes. What I saw was a mini version of Ji Anxue, who was staring at me with wide, round eyes. Seeing that I was awake, the little girl's eyes lit up and happily hugged my neck. Daddy, looking around, I saw Ji Anxue lying beside me, looking at me with a smile on her face. For a moment I was dazed. I was stunned. How did I become a father? Is this my daughter with Senior? Did the dream become reality? Countless doubts swirled in my mind. After a while, I looked at the woman, smiling beside me, and asked with a trembling voice, "Is this my daughter?" What do you think? You were so wild that night. I got pregnant shortly after. If you don't want her, I can find Gu Han to be the father. No, before Ji Anxue could finish, I glared at the woman with an annoyed look. But meeting her gaze, I quickly gave in. Senior, I'm sorry. I want to explain the things from 3 years ago clearly. But the woman obviously already knew. The smile vanished from her face and was replaced by a cold sneer. Baby, go out and play with Auntie Jiang first. Daddy doesn't want us anymore. Mommy needs to teach him a lesson. Go, Mommy. Teach Daddy a lesson. Like the little girl on me quickly got out of bed, and before leaving didn't forget to close the door, looking at the woman sneering at me. I wanted to speak, but was quickly interrupted. Junior, leaving us, mother and daughter, to go abroad for 3 years. Were you happy? 3 years ago, you locked me up for a month. From today, you will stay in this room for a full year. Otherwise, my daughter and I will go with Gu Han. As soon as she finished speaking, an overwhelming kiss covered my mouth. I tried to struggle, only to find that my ankles had long been used by the woman, locked with a chain. And the material of this chain could not have been more familiar to me. This was clearly the one. I bought 3 years ago, as punishment for the woman. I didn't dare resist, nor dare to complain in the slightest. I would never allow my woman and daughter to call Guhan husband or father. The woman and daughter are both mine. This is all I deserve. What goes around comes around. Now I only regret one thing. That is regretting listening to that driver uncle's advice. Otherwise, for the next year, I would have spent it in bed. But at the same time, I'm grateful to that driver uncle. If not for his advice, perhaps I wouldn't have had the courage to lock up my senior. Nor would I have such a cute daughter. Future events, no one can predict. But living in the moment, doing what one wants to do, will surely get what one wants. A year later, this was the first time since returning, or even the first time in my life, entering an amusement park. Only this time by my side were two people, one big and one small, accompanying me on the Ferris wheel. The woman suddenly leaned into my ear and spoke. "Hubby, Yanyan says she wants a little brother tonight." I shuddered instantly. My legs went weak involuntarily. And at this moment in my heart, there was more joy. I didn't expect the woman I longed for would still be willing to have children with me. Looking at myself, I only felt that I was a terrible person, bullying my wife for a month, going abroad for 3 years. The daughter was raised by my wife, all by herself. And as for me, living carefree abroad for 3 years. After returning, my wife only locked me up for 3 days, and then registered the marriage with me. At this moment in my heart, I secretly vowed that for the rest of my life I would never leave this mother and daughter behind. At this time, the Ferris wheel rose to the highest point. Looking at the woman before me, whose eyes were full of me, I took a deep breath. Under the shocked gazes of the woman and daughter, I slowly knelt on one knee and took out the ring, prepared in advance. I never forgot that I still owed the woman before me a confession of love. With our daughter as witness, for the woman I loved for 12 years, I put on that ring. Time came to the evening. A thought suddenly popped into my head. To take a taxi. Looking at the car keys in my hand, I thought I'd drive tomorrow. In the taxi, while immersed in playing with my daughter, I suddenly heard the voice of the driver in front. That familiar voice gave me a shock. "Young man, it really is you. 3 years since we last met. You even have a daughter now." "Yeah, uncle. I owe this all to you. I'll treat you to a meal some other day." "Haha, no need. You and President Ji are a perfect match." "How does he know in zoo?" I was startled, looking at the driver in front, then glanced at the woman beside me, who had remained silent since getting in. I felt like I had fallen into a giant trap. "Dad, one of these days will bring my husband home to visit you and Mom." "All right." The woman beside me spoke. In an instant, I understood everything. It turns out my wife from the start liked me. No wonder back then when I took her as my wife, she didn't get angry and instead was very cooperative. It turns out the most skilled hunter is often the one hiding the deepest.